Here.
Van Blaricom,
Here.
Leonard.
Here.
I see Isaacson and Flannery not. Elkett.
Here. All right, great. We'll move into public comment. If there's anything. Yeah, Fran?
Go first and then you. Oh. Okay. Hi, everybody. Nice to see my Emory peeps again, and this is my first time in the new city center, so I'm enjoying that as well. I want to spend just a couple minutes. I won't take up too much of your time. I just want to reflect. It's my term serving on the Polk County Board representing my beloved city of Emory. Some of the things I want to talk about that I'm really proud of is advocating for the groundwater shed study for testing drinking water. Last year, Lake Wabagasset watershed was involved in that. This year, it'll be the Apple River watershed. So for the representatives from the city who serve on the Apple River watershed, that is something that's going to be coming up. Something else I was proud to advocate for and worked with is to getting the library reimbursement from Polk County to the county municipalities raised to 95%. It has enough comp plan to get that raised to 100%, so don't forget about that. Probably the thing I worked the hardest on and put most time and energy in was the Polk County Recycling Center and the upgrades and critical maintenance and things that were needed there. So there was a lot of discussion about that. Sometimes that got pretty contentious. We looked at studies, staff recommendations, listened to the public, what the public wanted for recycling. And then after years of kicking this around and years of indecision, the board finally committed to the future of the recycling center and getting that work done using ARPA funds. So that will not impact the taxpayers' tax bill by using it that way. Something else that I advocated for that really is just a measure to reassure the public that as elected officials, we take seriously our responsibilities of accountability and transparency is a successfully sponsored change to add a standing agenda item to the county board to disclose potential conflicts of interest on any matter on the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. Recently, the executive committee of the county board recommended that they're going to remove that from the rules of order when the board, new board takes office. So make of that what you will. In conclusion, I want to say that serving on the county board is a worthwhile and rewarding experience. You get to have influence and you get to work with very skilled and hardworking staff. You get to learn things about the county you never knew, even if you've lived here your whole life. You also get to know your other supervisors and what is important to them and what's not important to them. So in conclusion, I just want to thank everybody from the city of Emory who voted for me 2 years ago for their encouragement and support. Emory has a long history of inspiring leadership, and it has been my privilege to serve everyone and all the citizens of Polk County. I'm confident that I'm leaving you in good hands with my presumed successor, Denise Leon-Gray, who is here this evening, who's going to introduce herself to you folks. Upon my retirement, I'm looking at 2 years, and with my family's health permitting, I hope to continue to do something to serve the citizens of Emory, although I have no idea right now what that will be. Until then, I look forward to seeing everybody around town and saying hello. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Fran.
Thanks, Fran.
Thanks, Fran.
Denise Leon-Gray here. I didn't really have anything prepared, but I've been doing enough interviews and stuff, so I might be able just to capitalize on that a little bit. Somerset girl, born there in the 60s, or it's 1961. I don't care. Yeah. Okay, so joined the Navy, did a career in the Navy as a sub hunter. And if any of you know the ex-CVSO up in Polk County, Bucky Gates and I were stationed together in Wales. It's kind of like a really small world. I got out, used my GI Bill, got a couple of really hefty degrees in chemistry, biology, physics, and geology. I have a student teaching or a substitute teaching licensure. What else? Bunch of stuff. So I did another 22 years in the environmental health and safety field. During that time, I spent going back and forth every 6 weeks to Colorado, where they have large, we call them feedlots, equivalent to CAFOs over here. And I used to, I was a committee member at large that was in charge of reviewing and approving or disapproving all permits pertaining to those large feedlots. So spreading manure, corrective actions, feed plans, all of that good stuff. I take it that this county, that's probably, and to include the District 12, who I want to be a champion, the District 12 champion. Many of you that like Hunger Games, just like Katniss Everdeen, the District 12 champion right here. Okay? So I think that it's the CAFOs are pretty much on most people's minds. So it's getting the correct information, and in some cases you might even have to educate. So I'm really good at that, right? Drummer, that's I've been doing that for years in the county, even while living in Somerset. We transplanted up here 7 years ago. My children are like pushing 40, and I wish I would have raised them up here. What a wonderful, wonderful school district. So I'm thinking that might have been Amory minds. I don't know how much it parallels with the school district, but that too. And I also do know that there's I'm not going to say contention, I don't like that word, but I know that there's interest in how we use our trails up here. Okay. So somebody told me, bring a flip chart and show them stuff. I did all that. That's probably for a different time, right? So any quick questions for me right out the gates?
No.
So if I do become the champion of District 12, you have Fran. Thank you, Fran, for your service. You have Paul Isaacson, and of course our ex-governor, ex-senator Patty Schottner to blame. It takes a lot to talk me into something, okay? So, and when I'm in it, I'm in for a penny and in for a pound. So, I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. Good
I have
luck.
a huge military and law enforcement and medical occupation background. So you'll always, first and foremost.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we'll move on to the first agenda item, which is the department head reports. Patty?
Good evening. I just wanted to talk about, we have a new interim fire chief position, and clerk treasurer Ben Jansen swore in Chuck Brown as our interim fire chief to fill the vacancy left by the previous fire chief. Chuck will work as the interim fire chief with the help of assistant fire chief Eric Kelly to keep the Emory Fire Department running as it should. No plans have been made at this time to fill the fire chief position. However, we will keep everyone apprised when we get near to making that decision. Please call the fire station and someone will get back to you with questions you have regarding the fire. Welcome in your new role, Chuck.
Thank you.
WCMA Wisconsin City County Management Association training. I attended that training in Appleton on March 2nd through March 4th. The training did meet all my expectations, and I look forward to attending each year at the spring and summer conferences held throughout the state. Monthly department head meetings. I'm holding a monthly department head meeting on Tuesday, March 29th at 3:30. The need is always essential moving forward. Our goal is to continue to work collaboratively
each other for the betterment of the city. In the near future, on everyone's minds will be the employee evaluation review process. South Industrial Park, the South Industrial Park progress is moving along nicely. Albright's and Excavating is doing the work. Total cost of the project for them or with them is $1,508,152.30. Total estimated cost of the project is $1,956,415. Last month, you, the council, approved $2 million for the project through general obligation borrowing. The project should be complete late summer 2022. We are excited to proceed with sales of lots in the approximate 18-acre space. And I'm working with estimates for 1 acre sales in that area, so we have a better idea what we can sell the property for. I will discuss those with everyone when I firm up some sales estimates. TID 10. As you know, we were working on possible TID 10 being added to the city, but the developer fell through. So I think we'll table it at this time. That person would like to revisit it again in the spring. So we'll look at that next year possibly. EADC, Amory Economic Development Corporation. I'm happy to announce that Paul Schaefer of Amory Economic Development Corporation will be moving into a space at the Amory City Center. His valued experience in economic development in the city of Amory will be another welcome addition to the center. I look forward to working with him closely in the future. Any questions?
Thank you.
Yep.
Ben?
All right, mine's a bit shorter. My life has been election dominated lately. So absentee ballots were sent out last Tuesday. They were a little delayed. The county didn't get the ballots as early as they usually do, so they went out a little later than usual. And then early in-person absentee voting actually started today and will run through next Friday. And then a note for the public, do not use the drop boxes on either end of the building. We cannot accept ballots that are returned in those drop boxes. They will not be valid. Also elections related, we had battery book training last week with Tracy Carlson. She's the administrator down in Baldwin, and she's the regional trainer for the battery books. Battery books are computerized poll books, and they will make our lives a lot easier moving forward. We won't have the 800 pages of names and stuff to deal with anymore. Not election related, Patty and I will be taking a webinar training from the Treasury Department on ARPA fund reporting guidelines. We have to report our ARPA fund expenditures. I think it's April 15th. We haven't expended anything yet, but we still have to report it. And then finally, I swore in Taylor as my deputy clerk, so she can perform all election duties that I can and will help me moving forward.
Great, thank you.
Ben, is there any time limit on when those ARPA funds have to be used?
4 years.
4 years.
Chief Morris. My voice cracked.
That's
Just-
okay. I knew where I was placed.
Just,
Here.
Yeah.
Good evening, council members, city staff, community. First of all, kudos to Jeff and his staff for the flood that we recently had downtown there. Those guys are just running rampant while one of my officers and I were diligently directing traffic around that area there. So I don't know who worked harder, either us or them, but actually Jeff and his crew worked extremely well. Looks like spring is finally here, and due to the warm weather, we once again have discontinued winter parking restrictions. Certainly unless we get a heavy snowfall between now and April 15th. Done, okay. Good for another year until November, perfect. As with each spring, our calls are certainly increasing along with traffic there. Betty patrol vehicle squad go down for service here. It's going to be down for about a week there. And during that time, the officers will be utilizing either the K9 vehicle or the unmarked patrol vehicle. Officer Harris and K9 Kerchuk recently assisted Rich PD at one of their schools down there. Officer training has picked up over the last month. Besides some of our online training that we continue to do, we've also had TASER and intoxicant recertification. 3 of our officers have attended legal update and defense and arrest training through Northwood Technical College, and Officer Hickok recently attended vehicle contacts instructor training. Lastly, due to staffing levels at our administrative office, The office will be closed on Fridays until further notice, and we certainly apologize for any inconvenience. Any questions at all?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Fire chief?
Are you?
Oh, Chuck?
And that's Wi-Fi password.
I'm sorry.
Wi-Fi.
Should probably write it down instead of broadcast it.
Evening, council.
Yes.
From interim fire chief. I'm back. Anyway, just a few things to go over. I'll let you know that our self certifications are completed for our 2% dues, so that's all taken care of. Also concerning our audits and stuff, I spoke to Rick Sommerfeld several times on how to improve our audits. He said he's willing to come to the department, speak with the fire officers on how we continue to improve. Also, next in line, we did order our battery operated jaws, and we want to put them on our squad 8. We want to have that truck to be our first quick out attack truck. And once we get jaws on it, then we can take that to car accidents. Small defensive structure fires, anything, of course, fully involved. Barn fire, of course, we're going to take our big water truck, which our engine one instead of that one. So also, we talked to a homeowner recently, and he does have a house that he would like to have taken down by June. So we have optimal training that we can do in this house. So, and that was one of the things on our audit that we could improve on, is the type of different things that we can do for structure fires, ladders, ventilation, all kind of stuff. So that's coming up. Asked about, we had several firefighters ask if we can start up our truck maintenance crew again. Anything small that needs to be fixed on the trucks, guys on the fire department who are vehicle mechanically inclined can do it. So, and I welcome it. So that's a good thing. I'd like to get a truck committee together starting in April, because I want to have this group of firefighters that are on the truck committee to go to the April fire committee. And that way the fire committee can actually tell this truck committee what they're looking for in our next vehicle. So that way they're all involved, not just coming from me to them. There's no in-between person. So that way they can all be involved there. We're looking at getting new pagers, new radios. Our portable radios are really old. I know Rick was the chief when I got my old Kenwood, and when I call county, they can't hear me because it is that old. Not saying that you're really old.
You're a dead man. Bro.
Anyway, the other thing too is Polk County passed a new resolution giving fire departments and EMS $10,000 to be handed out, which is really nice, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you to all the county supervisors that voted for this resolution. It is something, it's money that is going to be really appreciated. We're really going to need it. And the last thing I have is a pancake breakfast is going April 16th, starting at 7 a.m., going to 11 a.m. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Good.
The library director?
That wasn't that bad. I thought it was.
We didn't ask any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. Hit it really hard next week.
Good evening, everyone. So in February, I submitted the library's 2021 annual report to the state of Wisconsin. I will now be working on the Act 150 letters that should go out to each county. Recently, 2 weeks ago, we worked with the intermediate school to bring 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders into the library. The school helped us communicate to parents and guardians what was happening, what the visit was about, and they were given the opportunity to fill out the library card registrations for the youth. Classes were bussed over a few at a time, and over the course of 3 days, we had 263 youth and educators visit the library. Students spent about 45 minutes exploring the youth area and the collection, and within that week period, we issued 190 library cards. Most of those were to youth. And then last week, being spring break, we offered many activities for youth every day. We had something going on. We had crafting activities, a story time, movie afternoon, and a Lego challenge. The Lego challenge was especially popular. And you can see the creations on display on the main floor of the library in the computer area, in that area. They're all out for you to look at. We have a lot of programs and events coming up. And I just want to let everyone know if they're looking for activities and things that are going on at the library, a good place to visit is our library website, amylibrary.org. You can click on calendar to view what's coming, or feel free to visit the library, and we have calendars made that you can take home with you and see what's coming. Their monthly calendars that we create each month. So we've got March, still some things coming, and we've got some things continuing to be planned for April here coming up. Lastly, starting April 4th, the MORE Consortium, which is a consortium of libraries, just over 50 libraries in Western Wisconsin that share their library materials together. We're part of that MORE Consortium, and they are doing an Explore More 2022 passport campaign. The idea behind the event is to encourage patrons to travel, get out and around, to visit the different communities that the libraries serve, and visit the libraries and participate in library activities at the libraries. So you can pick up a passport at our library here in Amory, or any library in the MORE Consortium. When you visit a library, you can get your passport stamped, and when you visit 10 libraries, you can enter to win a prize from NIFLS, the library system that we're on. Should be a pretty fun event. It starts April 4th and it runs through July 15th, so you have plenty of time to visit the libraries in the MORE Consortium. Questions?
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Well, good evening, everyone. Well, everybody knows on the 5th, we had the flood on Keller. And just so everybody's aware, flooding wasn't really the city's fault. It's everybody's got a lot of stuff thrown in the creek, and there was a lot of snow piled in it, and it just got bad. One of those things that happened. And the same morning that was going on, we had the icy roads. So a few of the side roads did not get done as fast as they probably should have. It was like 8:30 before we got to some of the side ones. And I apologize for that inconvenience, and, you know, just too many things going on. I would also like to thank both the fire department and the police for all their help in that. Without them, it really would have been a real mess. It was good to see everybody working together. We plowed snow a couple times last month, a lot of sanding that now we get to run around and pick up. We spent a lot of time at City Hall, at the city center here, hanging stuff up and running around and trying to chase down leaks. And guys have been out working on the storm drains and trying to get the sidewalks and streets cleaned up. We were shoveling fire hydrants, but that's over. Right now, we've got the crew out patching streets and sweeping. If you see them out there, slow down. You know, they've got their orange vests on, but just slow down, please. The week of the 4th in April, we'll be flushing the hydrant. So if you get dirty water, let it run 10 to 15 minutes and it should clear up. But if it doesn't, give us a call. We'll come check your meter. Sometimes they get plugged up on us. We had the sewer plant supervisor down to La Crosse for a three-day training session. He said he got a lot out of it. We've also got SEH working on plans for the new plant, not new plant, but an upgrade to the plant. It's gonna happen eventually. Nothing right now, but it's coming. That's about it. We got any questions?
Great, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next agenda, which is the potential storm sewer easement.
You have a bunch of pictures that put in there too.
Yeah. Saw those.
Just a question for you, Jeff. I noticed one of these pictures, well, several places are things that I kind of question, but one of them has some steel posts right in the middle of the creek.
The steel post we put in there to try to catch some of the bigger debris right before Bridge Street, but we also have fences going across the creek. We have a bunch of bridges, homemade bridges. It just, people are dumping garbage, burning pile stuff,
Yeah,
leaves.
yard waste.
And
Just-
so,
Do we have the responsibility or the assessment to get there, can we get in there to clean it up?
I heard mentioned that you may have billed a responsible party for the,
We were gonna talk about that later,
okay.
see what you guys wanna do with it.
Is there any thought about taking a backhoe? I don't know what our limits are as far as driving equipment across that, along the edge of that creek. Do we have easements? Do we, so,
Where does the DNR and others fall on? Is that an occasional stream or is it
It's a constant stream.
yeah? So it's not navigable, I know that, unless you have a
Right.
paper boat, but still
And
it's,
there's no easements or anything that we could find for it. And we don't want to take it over completely because we've got a bunch of driveways on Cross Street, that have
culverts.
culverts and you're taking on a lot. Just kind of looking for some guidance on what way we should go about it.
Well, I think the right way is, stay with me on this,
Mhm, mhm.
I went to public school. The right way to do it would be to get an easement for that entire run, because it does have direct impact on Keller Avenue drainage and these problem areas that we have already that have, flooding issues. But to get easements, get an easement for that entire run, and then go in and clean it out, get all the swill, get all the debris, get all those railroad posts, whatever.
There's everything. Yeah.
There's tons of debris in there. Put a nice gravel base on it and make it, a 20-year creek or whatever it is for the drainage. But I also think that if we did that, we'd have to fence it too. Otherwise, you're gonna have people dumping stuff in there, plowing their snow in there, and we're gonna be right back to where we are now.
And the problem is some of the people on both sides of the creek,
Mhm.
That's, so how do you fence it off and then they can't get around to their yard?
Right.
And we looked at when MSA was in here, they had some stormwater grant money,
Mhm.
but the problem there is we'd have to get everybody to give us easement or sign off, and they didn't want to go through the hassle like they did with me.
How many property owners do you think there are?
There's an overview shot in OneDrive just between Broadway and Bridge Street. I would guess 35.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna get unelected?
Is that all I gotta do?
I thought I'd stop, I'd start with just door to door knocking and talk to people and see who will let us in to clean it up. Who won't. Got to start there, see what happens.
With most of those things, you can clean it out, you can manage the base, but if you don't manage the stream bank, it's all coming back in. It's just gonna, every time you have high water, it's gonna undercut everything like that. I guess that it's almost something you need to, there's an awful lot of organizations that do stream bed repair, there's places out there that they do that, and they use materials that are not, you don't use railroad ties because they got creosote in them, and you don't use
Great treat.
green treat and, those kinds of things, but it seems like it's almost a project to kind of figure out the whole thing. And then how do you deal with, if you're gonna be digging around in there, how do you manage the soil, whatever that gets into the water that's gonna run into the river? How much trouble can we get in?
Yeah.
Is the biggest issue, or how do we manage it so that with DNR and others that we don't have a potential problem because they care.
Yeah, exactly. That's,
I don't think, you didn't have any water flow all winter long, did you?
No,
And was that a problem?
not till spring.
But,
Yeah, you know.
but I mean, the water coming from South Twin
Freezes up.
was
Yeah.
not
No.
was not an issue.
No.
So it basically is just surface runoff that's been the issue.
Well, that, you know, it came right at the time where you had freezing rain and the lakes were starting to melt a little bit. And it was kind of a combo. So it was running from the lake too at that time. We had the flood.
But it sounds like for the flooding issue, the problem area, at least at this time, was that section between Highway F and Keller.
Correct.
The rest of it was flowing
Well,
fine.
but then they all backed up too after we got that open. Then everybody else started flooding. Then they were.
Those culverts had ice in them too, probably, or whatever else.
Well, next winter, I'll just keep a better eye on it to make sure there's nothing excessive in the creek, because we did have other people pushing snow in there too downstream.
Do you think if the lake would have been open all winter to keep that would kept the culverts open? Because I don't recall ever having an issue like this ever. Do you?
We've had it 100 times, all the time. Bumper at
With-
least twice a year.
With
Yeah,
heavy-
but
heavy rains, yeah.
that bumper problem has always been the size of the culvert going under 46, right?
That's what they said, but now it's just, all you did is move it down. You know, you just moved it, so it's still backing up at the same spot, because that's gonna be where it's gonna back up. But it's right down the creek, you know, it's got nowhere to go. So all, like they said, when we went in and dropped the ones at the hotel 2 feet, because they were 2 feet higher than the culvert. So water had to go uphill straight.
So, but it might have affected the openness of the culverts below F or on the south, on the downstream side of Keller Avenue, if there'd have been water flow all winter, do you think?
Possibly, yeah.
I don't ever.
Yeah,
personally recall.
I think first off, we need more information as to where the problems are. And it's gonna take more than just, I mean, you're going to get an engineer in there and take a look at it and see what the capacity
Well,
is.
just to start, I just wanted to try to walk through and clean it.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. That was gonna be my next comment, but I think in the meantime, we need to go through and get this, as much swill out of there as we can.
The only way you
I'm
can,
not cutting those trees. And
the only way you
digging
can
them out, so-
control it
No, I
completely
just
is if you bury it.
meant the-
Yeah.
You have to put in a big pipe
Right.
and bury the whole thing.
This summer.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying that's the only way you
That's
can
the
control it.
surest way to,
Yeah.
long-term,
Then you manage the grade and everything else.
I think in the short term that it needs to be cleaned out and made serviceable.
It's,
And then a long-term solution is let's really look at what are the options.
it's surprising how much stream flow is affected by grasses and things that are on the side. It really slows them down a lot.
Mhm.
okay, so the outcome of that was,
Just
Do your
bringing
walk
everybody's
and-
attention to it.
yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
and good luck.
Thanks.
all right, we'll move on to bike racks for the north entrance of the city center.
This actually came in my email from Rachel.
Yeah, we had a question from students, from youth when they were visiting about whether or not there were gonna be bike racks at the library. They'd like to bike to the library. And I didn't know if there was a plan or if it had been discussed at all, so I thought I would just ask.
There were bike racks, I think, at the old locations. I don't know if those came with or what, if they're still there or what, or they stayed with the building, I'm not sure, but it seems like bike racks should be there. They're appropriate. but-
We had one at City Hall. I don't know where it happened to that. I used to sit where Deb works.
Hmm.
Big round, so at least you can find that, you can clean it up and stick it out there. Did you have any? Sorry.
Yeah, there was a bike rack at the old library. I know that because I parked my bike in there a few times. so.
And so do we know if that was owned by that building or if that was, I guess we don't know.
Yeah, my guess is it was owned by the building, but
I'll call Flash tomorrow.
Or how about I make a motion that we get bike racks installed at City
Yeah.
Hall. And between Jeff and City Administrator, you make them happen.
Second,
because the style is old, right?
Yeah, even if we gotta buy new ones, because.
Don't put old bike racks.
Right.
on
no,
the
no, don't,
door.
it's just bike racks.
So there's a first and second to move that on
You
to
bet.
council. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, we'll get it on the agenda for the April meeting.
Can we paint the railing on that side?
Once the weather gets better.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on slate to be.
It- having showed cattle and stuff, it looks familiar.
Yeah, no, that's gonna get better.
Yeah, that's the one thing of all the things. I've heard a lot of positive comments about things, but can they do something about those railings on the north edge?
Yeah, we will.
All right, the next agenda item is city fireworks discussion.
And I just brought that invoice to your attention. It's higher than was anticipated. Just wanted you to be aware of that. I think we have enough in our fund to be able to pay for those, but I just wanted you to be aware that they went up like everything else is going. Prices are.
How much
increasing.
higher than anticipated?
2,200
It was $2,200 more.
but that $6,000 that we appropriated hasn't changed for
No,
at least 10, 15 years.
right.
So,
And I did talk to him and he said he spoke with you.
Mhm.
You're gonna work with the firefighters to have them come back and do the fireworks. Because he's very busy that time of year. July 4th he's stretched out so thin that he can't do it himself. So I know I had talked to Chuck about it a little bit. And I think we're on board. So,
I do too.
Yeah.
Might be just be me and Chuck.
Well, as long as there's a fire truck there,
Yeah.
that's an important
No, we're-
piece. So.
No, I think
between
it
all of
was
us-
well received by the church, so.
Yeah.
they wanted to all for that, yeah.
And he does the training for whoever doesn't have the training. So he'll be good. I know there was talk about having it maybe possibly move to Fall Festival, but
Yeah.
people are expecting to have the fireworks there.
Right.
So
All right, so there's no real, I mean, it's within budget
No.
and we just.
yeah, I just wanted you to be aware of it. So
All right, looks like the next item is closed session, Wisconsin state statute. I gotta go over here. My eyes must be getting bad because I can't read this over here. Oh, I'll try, because I shut it down. My arms aren't long enough. A potential police sergeant position considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee for which the governmental